Dividing fractions with algebra. Wait, what's that doing there? Oh yeah, KFC. Okay, right. We are going to be using the KFC method to divide fractions. KFC. You probably never had a lesson where you talk about chicken and fractions at the same time, but hey, that's life. So let me give you an example of dividing fractions to start off with and tell you where KFC fits into it. So an example is 1/3 divided by 1/2. And the KFC method is basically you keep the first one the same, flip the second one, and change the sign. So if the first one stays the same, that's going to be 1/3. Flip the second one, that's 2/1, and do the opposite of divide, which is times. And that means that we have 1/3 times by 2/1, which gives us, we multiply straight across, don't forget, 2/3. Now, let me give you a different example. So let's say we're using a whole number this time. We have 2 divided by 2/5. Now, you might look at this and think, well, we don't have a denominator on the first one, so what do we do? Well, any whole number has a denominator of 1. And the reason for that, if I just bring it over here, is it actually means 2 divided by 1. So if we look, how many ones do we have in 2? It's 2. Another example, 5. So if we have an invisible denominator of 1, 5 divided by 1 would be 5. Another way of looking at it is how many ones go into 5? And the answer is 5. So using that logic, if we do the same thing again, now for the first 2 examples, I'm going to write it out, but after that, I'm not. So 2/1, that keeps the same. Flip the second one, so it becomes 5/2, and we change the sign to multiply. So that becomes 2/1 multiplied by 5/2, which gives us an answer of 10/2, which is simplified to 5. And I'm getting very hungry now, so yeah, let's just get on with the video because I want to finish as fast as we can. Funny joke for you, right? Look at this one. Look at this. Flipping leg. What's that chicken doing there? I'm going to get back to the video. I'm going to do the video now. Moving on to the actual worked examples. For these here, I'm going to use the method that I just showed you with the KFC. However, I am not going to list the individual parts down like I did in the first 2 examples. So let's have a go at this one. We know the first one is going to stay the same as 7/10f. The second one gets flipped, so that's going to be 8/5f. And the sign is going to change to multiply. So 7 times by 8 is 56, and 10f times by 5f is 50f squared. Now if I simplify this, I get a final answer of 28/25f squared. All I've done is divide it by common factor, which in this case is 2, and that's how I've got 28/25f squared. So again, with the second example, 6t/5, the second one flips, so that's 4t/3. Change the sign, multiply straight across. 6 times by 4 is 24t squared, and 5 times by 3 is 15. Now if I find a common factor between 24 and 15, it's going to be 3. So if I divide both by 3, I should get 8/5, and that should be t squared. So 8t squared over 5. Yes, that's correct. Okay, and the last example, 5q/7. That's going to change. I'm going to flip that to 8/9. Sorry, 8/9q. Change the sign. 5 times by 8 is 40q over 7 times by 9, which is 63q. So if we simplify 40/63q, we should get a final answer of 40/63. All that happens is the q's cancel off because the common factor between 40 and 63 is 1. Okay, here are some practice questions. Have a go using the same method that I just showed you. Pause the video and then play it again once you are ready for the answers.
Do I want my regular order? No. I just look, I'm recording video. I just want you to just drop off one small box, okay? 2 pieces, 3 pieces is fine, whatever you've got. I don't want to have to wait for it, okay? Just give me a little tap and leave it outside on the door, okay?
For the
Thank you very
first
much. Appreciate
answer,
it.
you should have got 5 over 24. Let me just show you on this one how you should have set it out. So it should have been 5 over 9e, and this flips to 3e over 8. And you just change the sign like that. You should have got 15e over 9 times by 8, sorry, which is 72e. And the common factor of these two numbers is 3. So when you do that division, 15 divided by 3 is 5, 72 divided by 3 is 24, and obviously the e's just cancel out as well. I'll give you the answers for E and F. This one should have been 63 over 4y squared, and this one here should have been 8a squared over 9. Now if you got these two correct, look at the timestamps below in the description and skip on to the next part. If you didn't get them correct, just watch while I explain them, and hopefully you'll be able to understand how to get to these answers. So again, this should be 9 over 2y. Flip the second one, so it should be 7 over 2y. Change the sign. 7 times by 9 is 63. 2y times by 2y is 4y squared. And since this cannot be simplified any further, we get the final answer of 63 over 4y squared. Looking at F, 10a over 9. Flip the second one, 4a over 5. Change the sign. 10 times by 4 is 40. A times by a squared. 9 times by 5 is 45. Now I know I can simplify this, both have a common factor. So once I do the division, I should get a final answer of 8a squared over 9. Okay, so here are the second lot of worked examples. As you can see, they're a lot more trickier than the first ones, but the same method applies. So there's a little thing extra that you have to do, and I had a video previously that I made showing you how to factorize when you're multiplying fractions like this instead of dividing. I will link that video in the description, but also you should be able to see it somewhere at the top over here. If you click on that, that will help you as well. So first of all, let's have a go at this one. So 6s plus 9 over 4 will stay the same. You flip the second one, so that's going to be 8 over 18s plus 27. And we're going to change this to multiply. Now, if you haven't seen the other video, what you have to do when you have fractions like this is you need to factorize where possible. So these expressions, this one here and this one here, can be factorized, and what we're looking for is the same thing in the brackets down here and up here, and I'll show you how we do it. So let's first of all factorize this. What's common to 6 and 9? Well, that's going to be 3. So it's going to be 3, and what do we multiply 3 by to get 6s? So it's going to be 2s. So 3 times by 2s is 6s. 3 times by what is positive 9? So it's 3 times by positive 3. And the bottom stays the same. Multiplied by 8, that stays the same. So 18 and 27, common factor of 18 and 27 is 9. 9 times by what is 18s? So it's going to be 2s. And this is going to be 9 times by what is positive 27? So it's plus 3. Now remember what I said about the brackets being exactly the same? Well, in this case, as you can see, they are. And that's generally what we're looking for as well. So if we now do the multiplication, and we multiply straight across, we multiply everything outside the brackets and then leave the bracket as it is. So 3 times by 8 is 24. And we leave this as 2s plus 3. And at the bottom of the denominator, 4 times by 9 is 36. And that's going to be 2s plus 3. So now what we can do is we can divide the top and the bottom by 2s plus 3, and that cancels this and this out. And then what we're left with is 24 over 36. Now that can be simplified further to get 2 over 3, because we divide both top and the bottom by 12, and that's our final answer. Let's have a go at the second one. So 5m over 18m minus 27. This one changes, so let's flip it. 6m minus 9 over 8. Change the sign to multiply, and then we have to factorize what we can. So we cannot factorize this here or this here, but these two expressions we can. So what we're going to do is 5m over, so what's a common factor between 18 and 27? 9, and that's going to be 2m, and this is going to be minus 3, multiplied by common factor here is going to be 3, and that's going to be 2m minus 3 over 8. So let's just check that. 3 times by 2m is 6m, 3 times by minus 3 is 9, 9 times by 2m is 18, 9 times by minus 3 is minus 27. Okay, now we can multiply straight across. So I told you everything outside the brackets multiplies together, and the brackets should be the same, so we leave them like that. So 5m times by 3 is going to be 15m, brackets 2m minus 3, and then we have 9 times by 8, which is 72, brackets 2m minus 3. Because we've got the same thing in the brackets at the numerator and the denominator, we're going to cancel this out. We're left with 15m over 72, which then we can divide by common factor of 15 and 72 is 3. So if we divide them both by 3, we get a final answer of 5m over 24. Moving on, these are some practice questions. Pause the video, have a go, show your working like I've just done in the previous two examples, and then play again once you are ready for the answers.
I do want to make a point that this video is not sponsored by KFC in any way whatsoever. Although if you are watching, I think I'd reserve a drumstick at least. Now, these are just tips and tricks on how to remember a method, that's all it is. I mean, come on, whenever you're going to need to divide fractions in real life. Talking about real life actually, what came first, chicken or the egg?
So for the answers, I just want to make a point. I have missed out the first step, which is to flip the fraction and put the time sign there. So I have put the second and third and fourth step there. So what you should have got here is you should have had 5c plus 20 over 8 multiplied by 2 over 9c plus 36. And the same rule would apply for the other examples as well. Once you've done that, then you can factorize 5c plus 20 and 9c plus 4, and then after that you can multiply straight across. As you can see, the thing in the brackets is the same as on the numerator and the denominator, and finally once you simplify you should get a final answer of 5 over 36. Okay, going through the second example, like I said, I've not put the answer for the first part there, but once you actually factorize, this is what you should have got. Then multiply straight across. You see the thing in the brackets is the same. You can cross that off, but also the g and the g there should be able to cancel out as well, and you should have a final answer of 21 over 100. Third example on this slide, once you factorize, that's what you should get. Multiply straight across, that's what you get. And then your final answer should be 12 over 35x. And last but not least, once you factorize, that's what you should get. And multiply straight across, you see the thing in the brackets is exactly the same. And once you simplify, that should be the final answer right there.
I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.